All right, let's jump straight into this explainer. Today, we're dissecting a massive, sprawling conspiracy hidden right beneath the surface of a neon-soaked cyberpunk metropolis. This isn't just your standard crime story either. It's a really incredible look at how vast systems are built, how they inevitably break, and how the truth can be completely buried in plain sight. So, if you've ever wondered how these huge, complex architectures of corruption actually function, and more importantly, what it takes to bring them down, you are definitely in the right place. Let's get into it.
To really get a grip on this, we have to start by stepping into the world of Detective Sera Voss. She's a brilliant investigator at the 43rd Precinct who operates on a deeply unique philosophy. While most detectives are out there desperately looking for motives and trying to piece together stories, Voss basically just watches the eternal reign of the city. She practices this technique she calls nady-nady, which means not this, not this. She firmly believes that if you just keep stripping away all the false narratives, the undeniable truth is whatever happens to be left standing. And a massive truth is exactly what she's about to stumble into.
So, part 1, the body in the sediment, the Ward 9 discovery. Let's take a look at the micro-event that kicks this entire thing off. To really understand the crime here, you have to wrap your head around the geography of Kethara City. It's a relentlessly vertical place. Think of it like a giant socioeconomic ladder. At the very top, you've got Ward 1. It's gleaming, it's expensive, and it holds all the power. But down at the absolute bottom lies Ward 9, specifically a dark, constantly wet layer they call the sediment. This is an unregistered substrate-level market. It's where the city's forgotten people and illicit tech end up. It's literally a place of shadows, which makes the evidence they find at this crime scene completely baffling.
Just look at the blatant mismatch left at the scene here. We've got a victim who was killed by a precise strike with a data stylus. Now, that is a highly specialized tool used by elite tech architects. But here's the kicker. Sitting right there in the grime of the sediment is a single, incredibly expensive turquoise earring. And turquoise, that is a trend strictly native to the wealthy heights of Ward 1. So we're looking at a high-end Ward 1 accessory dropped right next to a victim in the lowest possible slums of Ward 9. It just doesn't fit the puzzle.
So Voss uses her unregistered terminals and quickly strips away the victim's fake ID, which was Das Miran. And boom, the real guy on the slab is Lev Carthen. 11 years ago, Lev was a brilliant partner at this prestigious data architecture firm known as the Resonance Collective, before he was unceremoniously expelled and cast out into total obscurity. Which begs the question, why is an exiled elite tech genius hiding under a fake name at the literal bottom of the city?
That brings us to part 2, the conspiracy. Tracing the credits. Let's see how one quiet murder in an alleyway spirals into a massive embezzlement ring. Because as Voss digs in, she realizes Lev wasn't just hiding out down there. He was working. She uncovers what we'll call the mechanism. This is an incredibly elegant, highly illegal financial routing system designed by Lev himself. It basically works by siphoning off vast amounts of Kethara City's infrastructure credits. We're talking money meant for fixing failing load-bearing columns in deep-level construction. That money gets routed to a fake worker collective called Bedrock Mutual, washed totally clean through a shell company called Aperture Holdings, and then quietly deposited into 7 private accounts. It's basically a perfect, untraceable machine. But the absolutely terrifying part? This machine isn't being run by common street-level thugs. When Voss pulls the registration data for Aperture Holdings, she sees the name of her own boss, Commander Rye Tanaka. This guy is a seasoned veteran. He's literally the man who used to teach anti-corruption tactics at the academy. And now, he's a signatory on the exact accounts stealing from the city. The corruption is coming from straight inside her own precinct. Let's move to part 3, the architect and the evidence. So we've got a dead architect and a dirty police captain, but we still have a missing piece of physical evidence. Remember Voss's neti-neti approach? Not this, not this. We have to subtract the false narratives until only the truth is left. So who does that turquoise earring actually belong to? When Voss tracks its retail registration, she hits a name, Mira Carthen. Mira is Lev Carthen's legally protected ward. She's the young woman he raised. Now, at first glance, a regular detective might try to pin the martyr on Mira. I mean, she was there, her earring was left behind, boom, close case, right? Actually, scratch that. Voss's aperture is way too wide for that. She realizes Mira didn't go down to the sediment to kill her guardian. She went down there because she figured out he was in immense danger, and she was desperately trying to warn him. But she was too late. Lev was already dead. And in her total panic to flee, she dropped the earring. But here is the real game changer.
Mira didn't just leave something behind, she took something with her. Hidden on Lev's body was a tiny, local memory data chip. You see, Lev was a genius. He didn't just build this embezzlement machine. For 6 completely secret years, he had been meticulously logging every single transaction. This chip holds the full architecture, every stolen credit, every fake account, and the true names of the most powerful people in the city. Mira managed to rescue the ultimate proof.
Which launches us into Part 4, the race to the IRB, filing the evidence. Voss manages to track Mira down in the rainy streets of Ward 5, earns her trust, and gets her hands on the data chip. But now Voss has a massive problem. Tanaka knows she's looking into this, and he commands the city's entire surveillance and police network. She can't exactly walk this chip into her own precinct, or it just disappears forever, and so does she. So she does something brilliant. She bypasses the primary power structures entirely and physically runs the evidence through the city's maintenance tunnels all the way to Ward 3, aiming for the Independent Review Board's secondary intake. By filing it under a sealed identity protocol, she activates an unstoppable independent legal mechanism. She literally locks the truth into the city's permanent record right before Tanaka's goons can stop her. Voss does get captured by Tanaka's men right on the steps of the IRB building just moments after depositing the chip. She's dragged into an interrogation room with her captain. But as she's sitting there, we have to ask the biggest question of the whole case. Was Tanaka actually the guy pulling the strings?
Well, let's look at Part 5, the true mastermind behind the mechanism. Because as Voss sits across from her corrupt boss, she realizes he's just a gear trapped inside a much older, much more vicious machine. Let's look at the actual timeline of the conspiracy here. This embezzlement didn't just pop up a couple of years ago. It started 7 years ago, and it was born entirely out of extortion. The true mastermind is Councillor Bren Maeve. He's this highly polished, seemingly untouchable Ward 1 politician, hiding right in the bright public light. 7 years ago, Maeve found Rye Carthen at his most vulnerable and threatened to unseal the court records protecting young Mira unless Lev built him this financial routing system. Maeve tricked Tanaka into joining by calling it an efficient way to redistribute funds, classic political doublespeak. And when Lev finally tried to walk away, it was Maeve who sent the hitman, Sev Drak, to permanently silence him.
So for 6 long, agonizing years, Rye Carthen operated this corrupt machine. He knew he was trapped. But instead of just rolling over, he used his incredible intellect to quietly and painstakingly document every single ounce of the corruption. He sacrificed his own conscience and ultimately his life to protect Mira. But in doing so, he simultaneously built the exact weapon needed to completely destroy Bren Maeve. And because Voss successfully got that 6-year record into the system, the dominoes fall incredibly fast. Councillor Maeve is immediately exposed and shoved out of power. Tanaka, realizing the gig is totally up, cooperates with the IRB. The hitman is taken into custody, Mira is finally safe and preparing to testify. And Detective Voss, well, she's put on administrative leave, but she knows she won. She found the truth. Throughout this whole explainer, we keep coming back to this one anchor. The city remembered everything and understood nothing. Kethara City has cameras on every single corner, financial logs for every credit spent, biometric data for everyone. The data was always there. But data's completely meaningless without human courage. It took Lev's love for Mira, Mira's sheer bravery to go back for that chip, and Voss's relentless dedication to actually make this city's data mean something. Which brings us to our final takeaway. We live in a world absolutely surrounded by massive, hyper-complex systems, whether they're financial, political, or technological. And they often feel permanent, right? Like they can't be changed. But they are built by people, they're flawed by people, and they can be dismantled by people who choose to look closely and act bravely. The rain keeps arriving, and the data keeps flowing. Will you look closer at the systems built around you? Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.